Summary of the Ministry of Utmost Happiness by Arundhati Roy. In the graveyard behind the government hospital, a weird elderly woman has made herself at home. At first, she doesn't have many guests, but soon the blind old Imam Jiyuddin becomes one of her best friends. The two of them read the newspaper together, and the Imam finds out that the woman's name is Anum. She is a hijra, which means she is a trans woman. She has left the Quabga, where she lived with many other hijras for many years. Anum was born intersex, but her mother, Jahanara, called her a boy and gave him the name Aftab. Even though Aftab usually acts like a boy as a child, he is a great singer, which makes the other kids in the area tease him about being too girly. When Mulakat, Aftab's father, finds out that his son is intersex, he forces him to have surgery to change his gender and tries to make him more masculine by telling him stories about his ancestors who were great warriors. But Aftab likes women much more than guys. One day, he sees a beautiful woman named Hijra going down the street, and he decides to follow her. He ends up at the Quabga, which he visits every day until he is 15. At that point, he chooses to move there for good, which is a huge shock to his parents. There, Aftab becomes Anum, and after Anum has surgery to change from male to female, she feels like the full version of herself. Anum becomes a famous hijra, and NGOs, human rights groups, and media always want to talk to her. She is pretty and strong-willed for a girl. One day, Anum finds a baby left alone outside of a temple. She decides to take the baby home with her and name her Zainab. Anum loves the baby girl, but she doesn't know how to raise her. She spoils Zainab and tells her stories about her life that are so real that they are scary. Zainab gets sick right before she starts school for the first time. This makes Anum decide to go on a journey with Zakir Mian to a famous Muslim site in Gujarat. But while Anum and Zakir Mian are on the journey, they get caught up in a murder. Zakir Mian is killed, and Anum is saved because killing hijras is bad luck. He comes back as a different person and tries to dress Zainab as a boy to keep her from being hurt. The head of the Quabga, Ustad Kulsum Bai, doesn't agree with Anum's choice. This makes Anum angry, so he leaves the Quabga and moves into the graveyard behind the government hospital. He leaves Zainab in the care of Sita. Anum slowly builds a house around the graves of her relatives in the graveyard. When Saddam Hussein, a young Dalit man without a job who is on a mission to kill the police officer who killed his father, shows up, she is no longer living there alone. Saddam is the one who first tells Anum that she should charge for guests and for funerals. Soon, Anum starts to call her home the Jannat guest house and funeral services and takes care of all the outcasts and poor people in the area. In the meantime, an Indian government worker named Biplab finds out that one of his tenants, Tilo, has gone missing. Biplab has loved Tilo in secret for his whole life. He met her when he was a college student and was in a play. Musa, a Kashmiri engineer, was dating Tilo at the time, but Biplab and Naga, a childhood friend of Biplab's who is also in the play, are both madly in love with her. Biplab is still involved in the Kashmir war, but now as an official whose main job is to hide the terrible things the Indian army does in the area. Naga is a writer. He doesn't think he's corrupt in any way, but Biplab sees him as a government puppet who only tells the public what the government wants him to say. Biplab is on a job in Kashmir when he gets a call from a questioning center in Srinagar with a message from Tilo that is in code. When Biplab finds out that the army has taken her prisoner, he sends Naga to get her from jail. Soon after, Naga and Tilo get married. But the marriage doesn't last long, and when Tilo finally leaves Naga, she asks Biplab if she can rent one of his flats. Here is where Biplab is waiting for her, but it looks like Tilo has left the flat. Before Biplab gets to Tilo's old flat, there is a wild public protest at Jantar Mantar. It starts with a Gandhian on a hunger strike to protest corruption in India. But soon, a lot of other groups come to the site to protest for their own causes and take advantage of the TV coverage. Anum and Saddam Hussein go to the protest together to see what's going on. One day, a group called the Mothers of the Disappeared finds a baby left on the ground in front of the protest. Anum wants to take the baby home because she thinks it is her fate to be a mother. However, the other protesters think it would be best to give the baby to the cops. Anum isn't going to give up without a fight, and Mr. Agarwal, the official who wants to give the baby to the cops, is no match for her. But the baby goes missing in the middle of the fight, and no one knows who took her. Tilo is the one who took the baby. He named her Miss Jabin II after Musa's daughter, who was killed along with her mother, Arifa, in a killing in Kashmir by the Indian government. Tilo started writing about the Kashmir War after the military took her prisoner when she went to visit Musa there one year. After she and Musa meet up again on a skiff, Gulrez, a close friend of Musa's, is taken by the military police and killed. On that day, Major Amrik Singh is in charge of the military. Once Biplab gets Tilo out of military prison, she plans to get even with the Major for killing Gulrez. However, the Major has run away to California, where he kills himself and his wife and children. When Tilo decides to take the baby, she does it for Musa in memory of his daughter, who died. But the cops are looking for her, and she needs a place to go where she can be safe. Dr. Azad Bhartia, a friend of hers, tells her to try the Jannat guest house and gives her Saddam Hussein's card. So Tilo plans to have Saddam pick her and the baby up and move them permanently to Jannat guest house. When she gets there, Tilo starts working as a teacher for the poor children in the area. She loves her job very much. Zainab and Saddam fall in love and get married. Many of the other outsiders in the city come to the place to be part of a loving, accepting community. Unlike her namesake, Miss Jabin II grows up in a loving, safe, and peaceful environment.
About the author. Arundhati Roy is a well-known peace activist and author who won the Booker Prize. Roy was born in South India to a Syrian Christian mother and a Bengali Hindu father. He grew up in Kerala, but he left the city to study design in Delhi. Roy started out her work writing for TV and movies. She wrote the screenplay for the movie in which Annie gives it those ones, in which she also acted. Roy started writing The God of Small Things in 1992. It came out in 1996 and sold quickly in 18 countries. The novel won the Booker Prize, and Roy used the prize money and most of the income from the book to support political causes. In fact, Roy has been a fighter for most of her life. She works against globalization and nuclear power in particular. She is very critical of the US's military engagement in other countries.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.